Okay, it's time for us to dive deep into this thing and let's be real for a moment. So I'm gonna ask you all a question. When was the last time you were really honest with yourself? Right now, you might be honest with other people. You might be honest with someone on your job or your spouse or your employees. But when was the last time you were really honest with yourself? Right? Here's what I mean. Honest enough to say that you really think you know better than everyone else, or honest enough to say that you're better than them or that you don't need their advice because you've got all the answers. And here's why I say that. Because if we're honest with ourselves, then we'll look around and we'll see that the blueprint has been given to us, but you ignore it. Right? So, no matter what area of life or business that you're looking to be successful in, the blueprint has been given, but we just ignore it. So, we might as well just tell people, like, hey, I don't need you, I don't need your help. Here's what I mean. You see, the path to success has already been paved, but many of you in this room are still trying to cut the path, level it out, and then pave it. Right? Like, so for me, we're so quick to recite this definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. But when we have the blueprint, we don't use it to build a building. We don't go off of that. Instead, we're out here like the three little pigs, maybe building a structure with straw, right? So Napoleon Hill already told us how to get rich, straight up. Earl Nightingale has already revealed the strangest secret. Now, here's where I'm going to pause for all of you owners out there, right? If you're a leader, you already know this stuff. But if you're just an owner, you haven't grasped it yet. So if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say Napoleon Hill told us how to get rich, you're already behind. Earl Nightingale giving us the strangest secret. If you don't know that, you should say, man, what is this strangest secret, and who is this cat Earl Nightingale? King Solomon, the ancient scribes, have already given us the best that's available. It's not going to be better than that. It doesn't matter if it's myself, Grant Cardone. Doesn't matter if it's E.T., Jim Rohn. Like, we getting it straight from the source of the source. Okay, so that's where I'm going to tell you, dive into that. So now, every one of us as owners, we want to be leaders, we want to be rich, we want to be wealthy, we want to be great husbands, wives, brothers, sisters, business owners. So we're going to look at, three words. I'm going to share three words, and this is the best there is. This is the real success formula. The no fluff, no veils, no questions, no mystic things that you have to do. But these are three words that are the real success formula. Education, motivation, application. I'm going to say it again for those of you in the back of the room, okay? Y'all ready? Education, motivation, and application. The first two words we're comfortable with. We are okay with the ideas of learning and then being inspired to act, right? So whether it's informal a learning environment, maybe a school or university, some classes, for my business owners, maybe it's in that continuing ed or those ethics classes we have to take to make sure that we are following corporate guidelines, right? So we're okay learning. We're even okay being motivated, being inspired to act. Right? Saying, oh man, we heard the teaching. We had the keynote come in and he inspired us to act. He motivated us. Rah, rah. Like, we see a lot of this around the new year where we make these resolutions, but then a week in, it has waned, right? So actually taking action and applying what we excitedly learn is a different issue altogether. I think many of us in this room will agree. Oh, okay. So there are a couple of examples. Of course, we can go the fitness route. We could go the finance route. We might go the relationship route. I've learned what to do. I've read the book about the love languages. I know what my spouse's love language is. Yeah, that's cool. All right. I went to the marriage council or the marriage retreat. We're excited. We love each other. We held hands for the first time in 5 years. Then we left and, Come on, breakfast in the morning? Nah, not trying to do that. You're an owner. You are not a leader. So I'm going to give you an example that that maybe most of us can relate to. So let's talk about this idea of those finances, those ducats, cheese, cheddar, that money, getting rich. Who in this room has said they want to be rich? Okay, I see you. Yep. Okay, because we're being honest with ourselves, right? We're not worried about who's looking at us. We're not worried about what they're going to think, what they say. Okay, right? Because we have dreams, we have motivation, we have desires, we have passions. We want to be philanthropic, but it takes what? Resources. It takes money, right? Okay, yes, sister, I see you right there, okay? So here's what I want to say. How many of us have said we want to be rich, good stuff, wealthy, affluent, successful, whatever you want to package it as? Who's gotten fired up and motivated into a frenzy? Okay, so we're all guilty of that. All right, which of you applied what you learned in the pursuit of riches? Not of happiness, but in riches, because we're going to talk about something that we can measure. Okay, my first question. Have you read the masterpiece Think and Grow Rich? Like I said, Napoleon Hill gave us the game. He gave us the blueprint for how to get rich. We say we want to be. We're motivated. We're excited. We've learned, but we didn't take that first step. We didn't apply those 13 principles that Napoleon Hill goes down and says, here's number 1, 2, 3, 4, bam, go down the guideline. Don't recreate anything. Just implement. Just apply. Have you applied the Andrew Carnegie formula? It's responsible for creating hundreds of millionaires. Now, hey, if you think you're smoother than everybody else, if you don't need it, if you're better than or smarter than the rest of us, then just say it. But for me, I know that my life turned around when I went back and I said, man, what is Napoleon talking about? Earl Nightingale, W. Clement Stone. Let me see what's going on with Jim Rohn, with Zig. Let me dive in just a little bit into this Andrew Carnegie formula. All right, let me see what the good book has to say when it comes to riches, when it comes to success, when it comes to integrity. Right? All of this information is available to us. And so here's the last question I'm going to ask. Now that you know the real success formula, education, motivation, and application, what are you going to do with it? With that formula right there, if someone were to say everything that you want in life can be summed up, the roadmap, the blueprint is in 3 words: education, motivation, application. If I spoke to a year from now, would you say that you got educated, that you learned something, that you learned what you needed to know, that you were motivated, either motivated to learn or motivated because you learned? But then most importantly, did you apply what you learned, what you took in? If you get educated, motivated, and then apply what you've learned, there are no limits to what it is that you can and will accomplish.